I know a lot of you guys are extra busy right now, and I totally understand that. So today I am going to be showing you 5 new dinners that you could make in only about 10 minutes. I really hope this is helpful for you, and let's get to my kitchen and start cooking. We're starting today off with seriously the best ever, most juiciest pork chops with homemade Instant Pot baked beans on the side. We're going to start on the baked beans first. So to my Instant Pot, I added in 1 yellow onion that I diced, a can of drained and rinsed kidney beans, pinto beans, and Great Northern beans. Next, I'm adding in a 1/2 cup of ketchup along with 1 cup of water, and then 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And I do want to let you know, if you don't have an Instant Pot, you can make these baked beans in your slow cooker so easily. Just cook them on low for about 5 to 7 hours. Then for the seasonings, I added in 2 teaspoons of chili powder, an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne powder, and then about 2 tablespoons of yellow mustard. Give this a stir, and I'm going to cook this on high pressure for about 8 minutes. While this is cooking away, I'm going to start on the pork chops. So right here, I have about 4 medium thick pork chops. I'm generously going to season each side of the pork chops with Italian seasoning, salt, and pepper. These seasonings will really give these pork chops a ton of great flavor. You gotta trust me. Now that my pork chops are nicely seasoned, over to the pan on my stove, I have it on medium-high heat. I added in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Once the oil was hot, I added my pork chops right in there, and do you hear that sound? That is the sound you want to hear when you add your pork chops in your pan. I am going to cook them on each side for about 3 to 5 minutes or until it reaches an internal temperature of 140 degrees. I like to only flip my pork chops once while they're cooking. That way there will be a nice crust on the outside and the inside of the pork chops will stay nice and juicy. Now I'm going to remove my pork chops to a cutting board, and I'm going to let them rest there for about 5 minutes. This will help lock in the moisture. But once they were through resting, I'm just slicing up 1 pork chop just to show you guys how juicy they really are. But here are my baked beans. They smell so good. These are seriously the easiest baked beans to make in your Instant Pot. You could make these baked beans for parties, you can make them for gatherings or anything, or you can make them just like we did for dinner. They're so easy to throw together. But here's my plate of food. I also serve this alongside of a side salad just with some romaine tomatoes, croutons, and ranch dressing. You really gotta give this recipe a go. If there's one thing I've been wanting to make for a long time that I just haven't made yet, they are these KFC Famous Bowls. So to get them started off, I just have a package of popcorn chicken right here. You could use any type of like chicken nuggets or popcorn chicken that you could find at your store. Just bake them in the oven according to the package instructions. Now to start on the mashed potatoes, I just peeled and diced about 7 medium-sized russet potatoes. I'm just making my mashed potatoes in the Instant Pot just because it's easy for me to make them in there like that. So I added my potatoes to my silicone insert. Then I added a cup of water and a dash of salt and pepper. Just cook these on high pressure for about 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how big you cut your potatoes. If you cut your potatoes kind of large, you gotta cook them a little bit longer. But now that my potatoes are tender, I'm just going to remove the liquid on the inside of my Instant Pot. Now add the potatoes back into your Instant Pot, and then you are going to add all the different flavorings to make them super duper good. So now add in about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, a 1/2 cup of shredded Colby Jack cheese, 2 tablespoons of sliced butter, a 1/2 cup of milk, and then some seasonings, a teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of paprika, and beat this all together. These Famous Bowls are so easy to make, so just place some of the mashed potatoes in a bowl, then top them with a little bit of corn, some of the popcorn chicken from the oven, and then I topped them with a little bit more corn, and I have some chicken gravy here that I simply microwaved for a few minutes just to warm it up, and then I topped everything with a little bit of shredded Colby Jack cheese. This is so delicious. It is total comfort food for my family. I'm glad I finally finally made this. I've been wanting to make these KFC bowls for a really long time. They definitely did not disappoint. I've also never made ham fried rice on my channel before, so to get it started, I have about a 1-pound ham steak right here. I am just going to cube it into smaller pieces. I like cooking with ham because it is pretty affordable for how much ham you get. To the pan on my stove, I added in about a tablespoon of olive oil. Then I added my ham in there. I have the heat on a higher heat, and I am going to sear the ham for a couple of minutes. After I was through searing it, I am going to add in 1 diced yellow onion now, and 6 ounces of frozen vegetables, so just half of this bag. I'll cook this together for about 5 minutes to make the vegetables tender and the onion. Now I'm going to stir in about a tablespoon of minced garlic and minced ginger. Let the garlic and ginger become fragrant. It will only take about 30 seconds. Now you'll want to add in about 4 cups of cooked jasmine rice, or you could use white rice, whatever you prefer. Go ahead and make a well in the center of your pan just like this and crack 2 eggs in there. Scramble the 2 eggs up in the center of your pan just like this. Once your eggs are fluffy, stir in 3 tablespoons of low-sodium soy sauce. Once everything is well combined, you could serve it up. I love making ham fried rice like this just because the ham makes this fried rice really rich and delicious. Also, this meal is so easy to make and the ingredients are very affordable. It's just an overall well-rounded dinner. Now we're making these French dip sliders, and oh man, they are so good. They almost taste like a treat. We're going to begin on the glaze first. So to this bowl, I added in 5 tablespoons of melted butter. Next, I added in a tablespoon of minced garlic and a tablespoon of this au jus gravy mix. Don't add in the whole packet, just a tablespoon. Then add in a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce and a tablespoon of sesame seeds. Give this a really good whisk and then set it to the side. I have my sheet pan here lined with parchment paper, and then I grabbed my packet of King's Hawaiian rolls. I'm going to slice the rolls in half, and I placed the bottom half on my sheet pan. Cover the bottom half with slices of provolone cheese. Then over the provolone cheese, place slices of deli roast beef over that, and then over the roast beef, you are going to brush half of the glaze that we just made up over the top of that. This is my favorite part. I'm going to be sprinkling about a cup of these crispy fried onions over the top. These give it a nice crunch. They're really good. And then I placed slices of provolone cheese over that and then topped this with the top part of the rolls. Brushed the remaining glaze over the top of everything and bake this in a preheated oven to 375 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes or until the cheese is to the cheesiness that you like it to be. While they were in the oven baking away, I just made up the rest of the packet of the au jus gravy mix on my stove. I added the packet in there with about a cup to a cup and a half of water, and I whisked this until it slightly thickened up on my stove. And then once the French dip sandwiches were out of the oven, I just served this up. These sandwiches were so cheesy and delicious, and here's my plate of food. Like I said, we like to dip our French dip sandwiches in that au jus gravy. It is so good. It makes these sandwiches super rich and delicious. I did serve this with a side salad, just with some spinach, croutons, carrots, and ranch. The other night, I was thinking to myself before bed, some steak fajita quesadillas would be so good for dinner. So now that is what we are making. I'm starting out by cutting up all of my vegetables. I sliced 1 red onion. Next, I sliced a green bell pepper and a red bell pepper. Over to the pan on my stove, I'm going to add in a couple tablespoons of some olive oil. Then once the oil was hot, I added the veggies right in there. Next, you're going to want to add in your steak. So I really really, really like this shaved steak. It's super thin and it makes for a great steak for these quesadillas. It cooks up very quickly and it's delicious. Then for the seasonings, I added in a tablespoon of steak seasoning and a tablespoon of taco seasoning. Cook this all together for about 8 minutes or until your steak is nice and tender and cooked through. As you see, my steak was a little bit frozen still, but it still cooked up really nicely. Now to assemble these quesadillas, I'm doing it on my griddle just because I'm making quite a few of them, but you could also do this on a stove. I sprayed my griddle with plenty of nonstick spray, then I added my tortillas down. Now sprinkle some cheese on your tortillas. Add however much or however little cheese you like. I like a lot of cheese. Then I added our fajita steak and veggies down, and then I'm going to cover the top with a little bit more cheese and then place a second tortilla on the top. Cook these quesadillas for a couple of minutes on each side, and then they will turn out so perfect. These fajita quesadillas are so easy to make. You could serve them with your favorite toppings, and then if you wanted to make these vegetarian, you can so easily just add different veggies like mushrooms, or you could even add lentils. And then if you didn't want to do steak, you could make these chicken quesadillas very easily too. They're great. Right now in my email newsletter, I am giving away 5 of some of my family's all-time favorite recipes for free. So you could join in the link in the description box below this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.